I just noticed it's 5:55 p.m. as I'm making this recording. It's the end of October. We're going to talk about the full moon in the sign of Taurus. 555, what does that represent? It's a 15, it's a 6 in numerology. 555 is a triple number. Sometimes it means thunderous changes are happening. I kind of like that because sometimes when we get stuck and things don't change, we need something to really get the ball rolling. Let me share my screen with you, because I want to talk about, of course, this full moon in Taurus. It's a fixed sign, very energized around staying in one place. But when we have a full moon like we do right here at 13 degrees of Taurus, it's an opportunity for us to recognize, since it's full illumination, to recognize where we're stuck and where we need changes. Now, there's a couple of different scenarios playing out here right now. But that's what that first one is right there. I'm going to dig in deep, so stay with us. So, what can help with the change is that we also have Mars opposite Uranus simultaneously. It's just within a few minutes of each other. And so, those two oppositions, the full moon in Taurus and Mars opposite Uranus, is an opportunity for us where we're feeling stuck, where we feel like there's no movement. The full moon will illuminate that and show us the changes that we can make, right? It gives us that opportunity to do that because that full moon wants us to asks us a question. It's like, what do you need to hold on to, and what can you release? That's the main question of this. We're trying to find that balance between things that are changing and stability. And it's really tough tug of war right now between things staying the same. They're not staying the same. We're imploding right now. Everything is sort of kind of being disintegrated and what's the word? Disassembled. Everything's being disassembled right now. And and our energy around this Taurus moon is that, oh, I want the things to stay the same. I like the way things were. I want to feel my stability. And the way it was, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. But the point is like we each have our own story. The point is here is that full moon in Taurus is asking us to put in steady effort towards the changes that we know need to come, that we know need to be happening. The Mars and Uranus opposition will help us with that. It will help us to see and hear the messages and make the changes that we need to make. Mars in Sag, zero Sag, fiery, speaking the truth, just taking those steps forward. Opposite that Uranus at zero Gemini, it's going to shift back into Taurus soon. So we have this rare opportunity with a full moon in Taurus, Sun Scorpio, Moon Taurus, feeling like it's like, all right, what is not serving me anymore, and how can I let that go? And when I let stuff go, it creates space for something new to come in. So that's kind of the premise of all of this. Now, with the moon in Taurus, all we have to do is look around us to see what the main theme of Taurus is. And you know what it is? It's food. It's food. So here in the United States, the government assistance SNAP for food assistance is on hold until our government gets back in order, whatever that looks like. And so that is what's happening. The feelings around that, things that people counted on, things that have always been there, are now not, right? There's the threat of it not being there. It's more than a threat. It's pretty serious. And a lot of people are really scared and nervous about that because their security around food, that is a massive, important piece to feel secure about. It's not the car that you drive. It's like, can I put food on the table? This is what is being shown to us between that new moon in Libra on October 21st. A day later, the sun entered Scorpio. And now, 2 weeks after the new moon, we have the full moon in Taurus, sun in Scorpio. Moon in Taurus, it's bringing these things up, our physical wants, our physical needs, food, security. Taurus also rules how we earn our money, A lot of people are unemployed now. A lot of jobs are just shifting and changing and going away, and there's a lot of insecurity. And this full moon is going to highlight that. It already is highlighting it, but it continues to highlight it. This full moon is just after a lot of elections. There's a lot of elections on the 4th. Yes, the 4th of November. I'm a poll worker, so if ever you really want to know how things really are, you volunteer. Yeah, election day's the 4th and the full moon's the 5th. Volunteer in your town to be a poll worker and you will see what it's really like. And you'll have to wonder. I did that. I started doing that in 2020, and I'm glad I did. Just one day. And so back to this because it matters. And that's not even back to this. It's like that's a Taurus moon. That's Taurus energy. Something I wanted to understand. And now I understand how something works. So because I dug in, right? That would be like the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Taurus. I decided it's like, all right, what does this mean? And you dig into it. That's a great way to use the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Taurus. And another way to use this, all the insecurities and fears that are going on, another way that we can process this is with the Taurus energy. And that is like finding a way to get out in nature, take your walks, get back to your very basics. That's most important. Get back to the basics that are really important for you to do, whether you're doing some spiritual things or some physical things, it doesn't matter. This period with that sun in Scorpio, deep, intense, we can dig in very far and do journaling and do shamanic work and do all kinds of things that are really important to us. And my music went to a commercial. Let me stop the share for a second. Hold on, I'll be right back. I find it a pain in the butt when I want to listen to some music in a commercial. Anyways, so let's go back to that chart. I just want to go back to that chart one more time and just show us that the energy of that full moon, we've already covered it and we know what it is. And I don't think I need to say much more about that, but I will encourage you to go to my website and read the blog because I outline it. It's about 1,500 words, so it's an easy read. It's bullet pointed. You can read it and go through it. But the energy of this full moon really represents an opportunity for you and for us to get back to the basics. And that is most important to the few things that are incredibly valuable. Earning a living so you can have food, so you can have a roof over your head, and just get back to the groundedness of that energy of that Taurus. And so that's very important. Some of us will be focusing on physically what we can do because our physical bodies are really heightened by the energy of that Taurus as well. So pay attention to that. And just the need to feel stable, safe, and secure. Very important. Be deliberate and pay attention to that, and don't let any of it just slide. Just be very focused on that because that's just highlighting of the whole process. We do have a yod in the chart. You can see this right here, but yeah, Uranus isn't Uranus. For this to be a yod, Uranus has to be at 29 Taurus, but almost it's close. But the energy of the quincunxes, two quincunxes right there with Venus, Venus in Libra, it really is finding the harmony in our hearts and in our lives as to what the stability looks like for you and for me. So I'm going to stop my share now. But the energy comes down to paying attention to what of value is most important right now. And that's what we're going to go with. Lunar gestation dates here. I did just pull my notes up. So the lunar gestation dates is May 7, 2024. We had a new moon. So 18 months ago, we had a new moon at the same place that this full moon is at. And so go back to May 7, 2024. What were you initiating? What were your new moon intentions? And, around stability, our focus, stability, comfort, the things we value, our money, our food, security. This full moon brings that we get to see the culmination of what was started back in that May 7th, 2024 time period. 9 months after that, by the way, was February 5th, 2025 was the first quarter moon. And that is when we were just sifting and sorting through what was working and what wasn't when it came to that Taurus energy. And so, and then 9 months after that is where we are currently in the Taurus full moon. Hone in on that, guys. If you're feeling lost and stressed, get back to one simple thing that you know helps you feel safe, secure, and grounded. All right. Those are the practices that we need to do right now to keep ourselves sane. And, reach out to your friends if you haven't heard from people in a while, because it's good to stay in touch with your neighbors. All right. I'm going to leave us with that. Blessings, everybody. Namaste.